Good morning, all the dignitaries over the online dais. I introduce to this August gathering Dr. D.K. Kamli is graduated from the Karnataka University of Dharwad. He did his PhD from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He had attained 9 years of teaching experience at university level, Karnataka University, PG Center, Belgavi, Rani Chennamma University, Belgavi. He has 5 years of administrative experience as assistant registrar at Rani Chennamma University, Belgaum. To his credit, he has 23 research articles published in national and international level reputed journals. He has also attended 45 conferences and seminars and also presented research papers at national level seminars and conferences. Presently, he is assistant advisor to the NAC Bangalore since September 2017, and he has coordinated around 150 institutions for peer team visits in country since last 2.5 years. He was also a resource person for various national and international seminars organized by various colleges and universities, and is now enlightened us on NAC various inputs. I now request Dr. D.K. Kamli sir to speak, address the gathering, online gathering.
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Sir, you can start from DVV, sir.
Yeah. I'm starting from DV only now. My PPT is visible, sir.
No, sir. No, it is not visible.
Hello.
It is not visible.
Sir, it is not visible, sir.
Yes.
Kamble, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, you.
Then,
Now it is visible, sir.
it's not. Now it is visible.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. After successfully submission of online self-study report to the NAC, simultaneously process. One is the data validation and verification, and number two, that the student satisfaction survey. So data verification means DVV. DVV is the third-party validation and verification of data provided in the SSR. Actually, what the DVV, they will do the work. Which data are to be verified? Say example, in this 1.4.1, structured feedback received from student, teacher, employee, alumni. One second. Yeah, regarding this 1.1.1 map saying that structured feedback received from the teacher. For that purpose, the institution should submit the documents like this. This block shows around upload stakeholder feedback report and taken report of the university on its minutes of meeting. Whatever you submitted a document related to a particular thing, based on that only the DVV third party will be evaluate the documents. So this is the DVV. Then what is the process of DVV? The actual process of DVV, the quantitative matrix of SSR will be sent for the data validation and verification. Entire SSR, there are two types of the matrix. You know that one is the quantitative matrix and one more is qualitative. For DVV, NAC is sending for evaluation.
Kamble, sir. Sorry for the disturbance. Kamleji,
Okay.
you can switch off your video and you can only audio mute you can take, sir. Because of the low bandwidth, you can switch off your video. Only audio mode you can speak.
Yeah.
At the same time, sir, at the same time, I request all the other participants also to switch off the video. Palla Srinivas, Rao, please switch off your videos so that the bandwidth problem is solved.
How can again go for back? How you can go back?
Sir, you just have to
Which button?
click on that video button, sir. Then your video would be switched off. Your presentation would be on.
Yeah, but now PPT is on screen.
Yes. So
it is full screen back, PPT.
Sir. Yeah. You just switch stop the sharing, switch off the video, and then start the sharing.
Stop.
Yeah. Switch off. Yeah. Now switch off the video and start sharing.
No, sir. Again, it is same. Something happened. Okay. Anyway, I will continue it, sir. No problem.
Yeah, please. Right.
Again, it will disturb to all the participants. Now it is my PPT is visible, no, sir?
It is not. Kindly present it, sir.
Okay. F5.
Your presentation is not visible, sir.
Yeah, so that's why something happened, a technical problem. Vishnu, just you continue, Vishnu. Again, I will join.
Sir, do you want Dr. Vishnu to continue on the DVV?
No, just 1 second, because again I want to come out, and again once again I can rejoin.
Yeah, please do that, sir. In the meantime,
Okay.
I'll be on, and I'll be looking at. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sorry for some technical disturbance from my side. Now the process of DVV. So entire SSR, there are two types of the metrics are there. One is the qualitative metrics and another is quantitative. So entire SSR, whatever quantitative metrics it is covered in the SSR, that all metrics will be sent for DVV verification. That is the actual DVV process, and that is the third party. So they will evaluate based on the submitted documents in the SSR. So DVV partners verify all the data, quantitative metrics provided in the SSR booklet, if it may be data templates, supporting documents, and other external sources. That all DVV partners may sometimes they raise the queries for those metrics where deviations are found in the data. Means whatever they submitted in the SSR during the evaluation process, if the DVV partners found some queries, if they want some clarification, then they may raise the queries for the metrics. So for that, the institution should found to be providing incorrect information, or the data during validation and verification stages will be asked for clarification. That clarification will be asked by DVV partner, and for the clarification, normally 15 days timing will be given to the institution for giving the clarification of particular metrics. The queries will be available on the HCI portal. Against each metric, you are requested to submit the clarifications or edit the data, provide the supporting documents, which is an appropriate manner. On the basis of clarification submitted by the institutions, then that same clarifications will be sent for DVV process after receive the clarification from the institution. And the detailed informations about the supporting documents during DVV process are available in the SOP. For each manual, for each institutions, there is a separate SOPs are made by NAAC, and all SOPs, it is available in our NAAC website. And it is easy to understand the metrics, what metric is there, and for that metric, which documents are required or which data is required for the particular metrics. For that purpose, NAAC has prepared several standard operating procedures, and all that it is available in our NAAC website. So if the sum of metrics, if the data is large, the documents may be provided for a small random selection. Say example, in the university level, there are so many publications are there. For that publication, if the data is large, for that purpose, the DVV partner, they will ask a sample randomly documents to the institution during the clarification stage. So that whatever they ask the clarification by the DVV, that document should provide the institution for clarification. On the basis of SOP, HI needs to upload the supporting documents and respond to DVV clarification within stipulated given the time, normally 15 days. So there will be only one chance. See, the institutions are very in particular. Once they submitted the SSR, there is no provision to edit or given the documents to the NAAC. But during the clarification stage, there will be only one chance to the institution to edit the data from the HI end or to provide the documents, whatever they ask for the clarification. So hence, the institution should take care while editing the data, because your timely response is and clarifications within the stipulated time will be avoid delay the processing of SSR. And there is a fixed timeline for the entire DVV process from beginning to last stage. That for that, institutions are supposed to respond within stipulated time given by DVV partner during the clarification. So this is a one screenshot. I'm explaining here. This shows the portal looks for DVV clarification. During clarification stage, the same it is available in HEI portal. What it shows, say example, 1.1. This is the 1.1 metric in extended profile. The number of programs offered year-wide during last 5 years. This is one metric. This is last 5 year data. For this metric, the HEI has given the table, means value. See example, 1819, 201, 188, 193, 187, and 181. So this is one example I'm giving. For that purpose, in this block, the DVV, they will ask the clarification. So based on the document, they will ask the clarification. So regarding this clarification, HI should give the response in this blank box and upload the proper documents in this, choose the file. Then it is easy to process the DVV. So this is one example. See, actually, what are the deviations are there in the during the DVV process? After the DVV process, a DVV deviation report will be generated. In that, there are 4 types of the deviations are there. What those? One is the no answer change, HI clarification accepted, DVV suggestion recommended, and changed after clarification. So these are the 4 deviations which is available during the DVV process. But what is exact? See in this screenshot, this it shows a last status. Just is see last block status, means no answer change. Say example, 1.1 metric, it shows the number of students year-wide during last 5 years. This is one metric. For that metric, the HI has given the data. So based on this data and this given the information, the DVV, they will raise the questions. For this block shows the DVV query. Based on this, the HI has given the document. So if they have given the initial document and during the clarification, if both datas are and both documents are matched, then answer there will be no change. So this is one example. Then coming to next clarification. So this status shows that HI has clarification accepted. Means number of courses offered institutions across all programs during last 5 years. This is one metric. For this metric, HI has given only 2, but DVV suggested 126. There is a lot of difference based on the documents. In this metric, I can give one clarification. Most of the institutions in the India, they are getting confusion between program and courses. See, program is nothing but program. BA is one program. BSc is one program. MA Economics is one program. And course means what? In BA, how many papers are there? Semester wise, that is the course. So many institutions, they are getting confusion. For this institution, example, the HI has given 2 only courses. It is not 2 courses. They have given programs. For that, they have asked the clarification this, and HI has given the again response 115 courses are there. Hence, the DVV has considered last block HI clarification accepted. This is the process. After this, One more example I may give. Change after clarification. Please see in the status box. How it is changed after clarification. Say example, number of certificate or diploma program introduced during last 5 years. So HA has given the data. This year was 11, 11, 10, 6, and 6. But DVV, it has reduced only 1. And 0, 0, and 15, 16 only 2. Means total last 5 years, there are 3. Based on documents. For this, DVV asked the clarification and HA given the clarification. So based on given the clarification, then after change, means after second level received by clarification from the institution, based on that, changed after clarification. This is one example. And fourth one, DVV suggestion recommended. See, this is 7.1.7. This matrix shows the institution has disabled friendly barriers free environment. For this matrix, there are 5 options are there. Out of 5, HA has given there are 2. Above 2. But DVV suggested only 1 based on the documents. For that purpose, whatever DVV suggested, that is the final value considered. For that, DVV suggestion recommended is the final. So these are the 4 deviations which is available in during the DVV process. So after this, then standard operating procedure. So there is a fixed standard operating procedure is there. For affiliated college different, for university is different, autonomous colleges different. Based on that, NAC has made this SOP and it is available in NAC website. So kindly go through the SOP and it is easy, means it is understanding for how documents we should provide to the institutions. And see in this case, just I wanted to share with you one for the each metric in SSR, 5 MB it is available. If the data is more than 5 MB, that same document HI should upload in their own website and kindly provide the link in proper manner in that particular matrix. So this is the example. This is the matrix-wise standard operating procedure example. This is 1.12 shows percentage of programs where syllabus revision was carried out during last 5 years. For this metric, what documents are required? This block shows the answer and this HEI instruction to the HEI and not to consider or not to be included. This block shows for all quantitative metrics in the SOP. So the sum of the challenging metrics are there in the entire SSR. In the quantitative matrix, some of the challenging metrics are there. For that matrix, the HI should give the proper documents for the DVV evaluation. What are the challenging metrics? Say example, I can give here 3. Infrastructure argument. This is financial related metrics. Purchase of books and subsection of journals. These are the financial matters in the LAC and maintenance of infrastructure. For this, some of the challenging metrics which is related to finance, for that purpose, HI should give the proper documents with a certified by chartered accountant in the college level, in the university level, finance officer of the university. So these are some of the challenging metrics. So then after this entire process, non-compliance of the DVV. This is very, very important to the HEI. What non-compliance? So institutions are normally given 15 days for the DVV clarification. For the clarification asked by DVV partner. In some time, in unforeseen situations such as natural calamities or political disturbance or in present, this one COVID-19, such if problems are there, then based on the institution request, again there will be 7 days time will be given with the approval of the competent authority for the giving the clarification. So after this process, before in beginning 15 days and after 7 days, if even beyond of this extension, the institution doesn't comply, doesn't able to give the DV clarification process during the stipulated time, then that assessment and accreditation of such institutions can be terminated at the level of DVV clarification stage only. And whatever they paid the fees for IIQ and first installment of SSR, that all fees paid for IIQ and SSR, that will be forfeited, not refundable from the NAC side. And that purpose, there is a strictly guidelines is also there. For such institutions, if they want again A&A process, assessment accreditation, then such institution shall reapply for accreditation after 1 year of cooling period of submission of IIQA and filling SSR fresh along with fresh fees. So then pre-qualification stage. So after DVV process and after tribunals, now after this I can give the presentation about the student satisfaction survey. Then the pre-qualification stage. Once the institution is pre-qualified, after completion of DVV process, the score will be generated to all the quantitative metrics based on the benchmarks. And as of now, benchmark is very confident with the NAC and it will not disclose to anybody or any public. If an institution score at least 25 in overall quantitative metrics, then only that institution will be declared as the pre-qualified for the on-site visit. Earlier it was 30%, but now from January 1, 2020, it has been reduced to 25. Then once the institution is pre-qualified, then it is ready for the on-site visit. If in some problem, the institution it is not pre-qualified, then that institution, they may reapply for assessment and accreditation process after 6 months from the date of declaration of the pre-qualification. So this is the regarding brief information about the DVV process. This is a table for that. So after this, coming to student satisfaction survey. So student satisfaction survey, it is the one of the new process which it was implemented in revised accreditation framework. Online student satisfaction survey. Key component of accreditation. For the student satisfaction survey, the data of the students for student satisfaction survey has to be submitted concurrently during online submission of SSR. And criteria, second key indicator 2.7, that is quantitative metrics, 2.7.1 with a predetermined weightage of 60. And this 60 weightage, it is applicable for all the colleges, and 50 weightage, it is applicable for only autonomous colleges, and 30 weightages, it is applicable only for the university for the student satisfaction survey. And from 2017 onwards, NAC has endeavored to conduct a student experience survey, the results of which will go into the accreditation process. And the survey will capture student responses through the list of students provided by the HEI. So in the entire process of the student satisfaction survey, the students will remain anonymous throughout the process. And student list across all programs and disciplines in current enrollment student year means what? The student data is required only on roll students, means those students are presented during the assessment process. The institutions is supposed to send a list of total student strength, on roll student strength, with details of the student ID number, Aadhaar number, degree program, gender, email ID, and mobile numbers. So based on this given information by the institution, so NAC will send online survey to the student email ID or mobile number. And the students will have to fill the survey before stipulated given time. For survey, normally there will be a 10 days validity. So after this, there is a strictly guidelines for student satisfaction survey. What is this guidelines? The institution should strictly upload a text format data in Excel template, which is available in HEI portal during submission of SSR. As per the NAC guidelines, for student satisfaction survey, minimum 50% of student details is required or maximum 100. And data will be accepted in text format only as per the template given by the NAC. In the given format, column names and orders should not be altered. No columns or no cells should be left blank in the format. And it also in the format, the repetition of the name of the student, email address, mobile number is not allowed. And there are two separate columns in the student ID and enrollment ID. In the absence of separate IDs, the institutions can repeat same ID in the two columns. And triple start along with DVV. So, and maximum there will be 2 survey attempts to reach the desired level of responses. And for affiliation and constant colleges, minimum 10% of response is required for the completion of student satisfaction survey successfully. Minimum 10% of the total population or 100 students, whichever is the lesser. This is applicable to all colleges, even it is autonomous college or affiliated colleges. But in the case of university, minimum 10% of the student population or 500 students, whichever is lesser. That is the strictly guidelines for successfully completion of the survey. And survey will complete within 30 days upon reaching the desired level. So this is one stratified sampling. I am giving one example of one X college. See, this is one X college stratified sample. One X college has given the student details in the IIQA. 1,600 students are admitted on roll. Out of that, as per the NAGA rules, only minimum 50% student details is required for the survey. In this case, 1,600 students means 50%, 800 students detail has given by the a particular X college. Out of this, NAC will send a student link in initially 30% of the students only. Out of 800, 30% student means 240 students link will be sent for the student satisfaction survey. So coming to next this block, in 30%, minimum 10% of the student details is response is required, or 100 students, whichever is lesser. In this case, 1,600 students means 10% students, 160, or 100 students should give the response. It is in a compulsory. Then only that institution, it will score as per the norms. If by chance in some of the problem in particular institutions, the students are given only 99 student response. If it is not completed 100, only 99 students given the response, then system only give the score, that is 0. Then automatically that whatever weightages it is kept for the student satisfaction survey, it may be lost by a particular college if they have not completed a minimum requirement for the student satisfaction survey. For this purpose, so institutions should encourage to the students. Institutions should motivate to the students to give the survey for online student satisfaction survey. But institution should not influence the students. So after this questionnaire, there are 21 questions are there for student satisfaction survey, and that all 21 questions are available in our NAC website in both version, English and Hindi. So out of 21 questions, about 20 questions are purely objective, and 21st question, that is purely subjective. Subjective means it is open-ended question to the students. See example, I can explain here 3 or 4 questions. See, teaching learning process. For this question, the questionnaire will be asked on the Likert type scale. That means the responses are scaled on a scale of 0 to 4, with the most positive response being rated as a 4 and most negative it is being rated as a 0. Then the score emerging out of the survey is the totally part of the second criteria, that is on teaching, learning and evaluation process. So coming to next point, specific teaching skill of the teachers. Some of the questions consist of several facets of the teaching learning process. Some questions, they are vary from specific teaching skills of the teacher to his oral approach to the educational process. Specific skills of the teachers like subject knowledge, communication skill, class preparation and use of ICT tools are the part of the questionnaire. Then oral approach of the teacher and institutions with respect to providing the right environment, motivation, interpersonal relationship, feedback, etc. And all form it is on the major component of questionnaire. So all these questions are analyzed of survey would be done using software only, which will aggregate the responses and generate the score. And the score will range from minimum 0 to maximum 5 on 5-point scale. And it would affect on overall score of second criteria, that is teaching, learning and evaluation. And 21st one question, that is last one question, that is purely subjective. Subjective means that is open-ended question. The students are asked to give any 3 observations or any 3 suggestions to improve the overall teaching learning experience in the institutions. And that would be carried out by aggregating the most occurring suggestions in the student responses. And this would be also provided an idea of the most general expectations, observations, and suggestions from the students to improve the quality education in the institution. So this is regarding the student satisfaction survey. So after this, then on-site visit, logistic and peer team management. So once completed the process of DVV and student satisfaction survey, that same day the system generated email will be sent to the HCI portal and stating that your institution is pre-qualified for on-site visit, and kindly make the second level payment and logistic payment, and kindly give the a brief detailed information for logistic. So what is this brief information? Once they receive the email from the system generated score, the institution should give the basic information, means what? The nearest airport from the institution, and 3 good condition hotels from the institutions, and kindly give the 3 slot of dates, convenient dates for on-site visit. After this information received by the NAC, NAC only directly take care of all logistic management. That is, air ticket booking of the peer team members, NAC only they book. Hotel only booked by the NAC only, and NAC only give the TA day and 100 AM to the all peer team members, those who will be visiting on the on-site visit. So after this process, NAC will not disclose the details of peer team members to the institution well in advance. They will inform only the finalize the date of the peer team visit, and that same information it is also available in a HCI portal. And concerned NAC officer, he will also inform to the institution so and so date is finalized. Finalizing the date.
I think there is some kind of internet bandwidth problem there with Dr. Kamble. So hopefully he might be joining us very soon.
So the voice is not audible, sir.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think there is some kind of internet bandwidth problem there with Dr.
Yes.
Kamble. Yeah. Please be patient.
Okay.
Mr. Ramna P. Ponugoti, please switch off your video, sir.
Sir, Kamble sir is reconnecting, sir. Only 1 minute.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sir, now I am audible,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah,
And
welcome.
Dr. speaking.
Yeah, welcome, sir. Welcome,
Yeah.
sir.
There is,
You are audible.
there is only one last one presentation left. Okay. Yeah.
Kamble ji, only up to peer team you can explain.
Yeah.
AOD, I think we can't explain.
Yeah. No. It is also ready, sir. Okay. Only 1 second. Yeah. Then coming to selection of peer team members. Now I'm visible, no, sir?
PPT not visible. Now it is visible.
It is visible. Yeah. Take 2-3 seconds. No? Okay. Then coming to how to selection of the peer team members. So because NAC has a more than 5,000 assessors, and all they are very good experts, reputed academicians, and researchers. And all those assessors undergone a assessment orientation program prior being inducted as a peer team member. So then how to selection? Automatic selection of the peer team member. Now NAC has a software based on that. NAC will system only select the peer team member. But how system will select? It is purely based on whatever subjects are offered in the institutions, whatever courses are offered in the institution, the system will select the peer team members for on-site. Then for constant colleges, normally 2 days visits. And for university, minimum 3 3 days, and maximum it may add 1 or 2 days. It is based on the university. So in this case, normally 3 members will be sent for college for on-site visit. Out of 3 members, one is a chairperson from Vice Chancellor category, member coordinator from professor of the university, and member he is the principal from accredited colleges. So apart from these 3, sometime one NAC officer will also join for on-site visit, or sometime NAC will send one observer for on-site visit along with 3 peer team members. Then after this, before 3 days, that all those who are coming for on-site visit, all details it is available in NAC HI portal, and before 3 days, concerned NAC officer will give the details of all peer team members to the institutions. Once the institution received the all details for peer team members, they may take a call from HIN, and they should call all the members and ask them at what time, where they are coming for on-site visit. And that local transportation responsibility is left to the college. What is the local transportation? Just pick up and drop from the nearest airport to the hotel, and hotel to the colleges for 2 days. And during the 2 days visits, before 1 day, 0 day, all members together, they will sit one place, and they will take a pre-visit meeting on 0 day, and they will discuss with principal or IQC coordinator. And during the visit, first day, minimum 50% of department they will visit, and is purely based on time permit as per the and after that 50% they will visit other NCC, NSS, they will go my teacher, non-teacher, all this. So these 2 days, next day they will prepare a PT report and scores. And after preparation of the report and score sheet, during exit meeting, during exit meeting, peer team report only they will share with the principal or vice chancellor of the university. The peer team member, they will not disclose, they will not share a score sheet to the institution or anybody. Directly after exit meeting, they will submit on to the peer team report and score sheet through chairperson portal only, means vice chancellor portal to the NAC. Once they submitted the NAC peer team report and score sheet, NAC will declare a result within a month. So after declaration of the result means then what assessment outcome? What is the assessment outcome? That all information it is available in HI portal and in the report. The quantity mix it is evaluated by the DVV, quality matrix evaluated by the peer team visit during the on-site visit, and student satisfaction survey. Altogether, one result will come out, that is accreditation outcome. That all outcome, peer team report, statistical analysis matrix, and that grade sheet, all information HI should upload in their own website apart from the NAC. So based on that, what it shows the assessment outcome. Part 1, peer team report. It shows Section 1, information of the institution. Section 2, it shows qualitative descriptive assessment report. And Section 3, it is the overall institution, that is strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. And Section 4, that is recommendation. So during 2 days experience of the on-site visit, the peer team member, they recommend maximum 10 recommendations to the institution for improvement of the institution in upcoming days. So part 2, it gives the explanation about system generated quality profile. And it is totally grade sheet. So grade sheet, it includes qualitative score and student satisfaction survey. So using existing calculation method, it will generated by software only. So based on information, here I can share a scatter chart with some of the key indicators secured highest score, some of key indicators secured medium, and some key indicators shows below. Chart shows performance, some of the key indicators secured low, medium, and high. So based on that, I prepared here a radar chart. This first chart shows which secure access. And after this shows like 467. So that information here I prepared pie chart. This chart shows distribution of low performance of indicator. This out of all indicators, some of the indicators show less score, 0 to 2, and this shows a very performance. And this chart shows some of the indicators shows a very good quality of the institutions. Say in this one, maximum 3 to 4. Some of indicators show highest score, student enrollment, curriculum plan, facilities, and teacher learning. So a detailed information regarding performance of the tuition. This shows the both QNM and QLM both. Based on the CGPA scheduled by institution, against adopted in the RFE. Means you get check the CGPA score, there will declare by committee. Then it will published to institution and our NAC website. So in this case, what institution scheduled the score means minimum not accredited below 1.50, and accredited it starts from 1.51 to C to maximum A plus 3.51 to maximum 4. So accreditation. So after grading declaration of result, here this is last chart sharing with all participants. After declaration of result, some of the institutions they are not happy with grade. For that purpose, with their confidential, they will appeal also within a month from the declaration of the result. And some of the institutions they want reassessment in the same cycle. Means after the declaration of result, they know their weakness and strength, each criteria wise, metric wise. Then after some improvement, if they want reassessment, they may after 1 year or before 3 years. For this assessment, there is a guidance which is available in our NAC website. For accreditation means once the institution is accredited, that institution they should submit AQR, annual quality assurance report online, and same AQR it should upload in their website. This is mandatory for all the institutions in the day. So with brief information, once again, thank you. And now session is open for question answer. Our team is ready for question answer. So I request to Hitesh Kwanter, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Kamble, sir.